Following the screening tonight, there will be a Q&A with the filmmakers, and they will be also joined by a few other guests, and I hope that everyone will also stay for that.
After the film, we'll have Safia. My daughter Sadie, unfortunately, is at camp, so she won't be here tonight, but we have Safia, her co-star, and Numi, who is also in the film. We have such incredible people here that can talk about what's on New York's plate.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the movie because it's really for your sake and well-being.
I also want to thank everyone for coming, and I just want to say that it was a really fun movie to make.
My name is Jenny Clapp. I work for Borough President Scott Stringer, who you saw. I'm the Deputy Director of Policy, so my interest really is in food policy in New York City. I think that a lot of the things that we eat, we do so because they're available. And I think that was pointed out really well in the film. We actually looked at the 500 feet around all of the schools in East Harlem and the Upper East Side. And no surprise, we found twice as many fast food restaurants and bodegas in East Harlem as in the Upper East Side.
Good evening. I'm Kim Perry. I work with the Clinton Foundation on an initiative called the Alliance for a Healthier Generation. We are a joint venture with the American Heart Association focused on childhood obesity prevention. You all know President Clinton unfortunately had heart surgery years ago, and he attributed much of that to years of unhealthy eating, although he was physically active, and feels a lot of passion around the Alliance and the work that we're doing. We feel like this film is so important and such a call to action, not only for us, but for young people. And Sadie and Safia are an inspiration to the 1.38 million kids across this country who have joined our movement, saying that we need to make changes, we need to make policy changes, and our focus really is on giving young people the resources they need to make this movement strong.
Good evening. My name is Maritza Owens, and I'm the founder of the Harvest Home Farmers Market. And I want to thank Catherine and Tanya and the entire cast for actually shedding some light on some of the work that we've been doing for many years. We have primarily focused on creating farmers markets in low-income areas where food has been an issue and low access. And so over the past year, we've begun to open new markets and new locations with hospitals, and I think that a lot of the work that we've done over the years has begun to finally catch attention. So thank you very much.
I'm Tanya Selbrun, I'm the producer, and as a child of the 70s, I did not have the resources that Alliance for a Healthier Generation, Harvest Home, and this film provide. And when I started making this film, I had no idea how it would change my own eating habits. I stopped drinking vitamin water, and I stopped eating Pop-Tarts. And I'm very excited to hear what the audience has to say, because this is one of those films that grows through its engagement with the audience.
I not only found the movie colorful and educational and very natural with the acting and everything, but I was very taken aback by the sense of family in the making of the food, you know, the food preparation, the farming, the families were involved. And that was very meaningful to me, you know, the education of the parents as well as the children, and it was very beautifully done.
That's such a nice thing to hear. I mean, when Numi started saying what she said about, I hope you had as much fun watching it as we had making it, you know, there's so many amazing and important food films and environmental films that are out there right now, and they, for good reason, make you not want to eat. And we all need to eat. And you know, what I've liked is that when this one ends, everyone says, oh, I'm so hungry, let's go cook, let's go eat. So, I mean, it really is the cycle of sitting down at the table, cooking the food together, growing your food, or whatever part of any combination of that you can do, and defining family any way you define it, but finding family in the people that you spend those daily moments with and not losing sight of that.
We couldn't have predicted the timing of this film either, because who would have known that we would have an administration that not only endorses healthy eating, but is actively trying to do it. And
planting a garden.
Planting a garden.
How can organic farming start to be spread in a way that makes it more financially feasible for individuals and families who find it a strain to actually be able to afford to eat that kind of healthier food? Is there work that's being done right now, aside from the CSAs? I imagine the CSAs are a really direct way to try and create an equilibrium for that to take place. But are there other programs to sort of make it more widespread?
One example actually has been the shift to accept food stamps at farmers markets. I think that logistically, that's a really important answer to the problem, as well as Health Bucks, which the Department of Health has invested in, which gives you a rebate. I think in terms of the regional or urban farming, there needs to be, in my opinion, more of an emphasis from the city government on accessing local food. I think that hospitals was just mentioned as an example. There are many institutional food providers in the city, and they buy a lot of food. So if they're buying locally, at least for some products that are grown locally, like apples or even potentially yogurt, that helps create an established market for the local providers.
For most of our markets, we have not brought organic produce because it tends to be more costly, but it's still, most of the farmers, their practices or their growing practices are such that they're limiting the amount of pesticides, and some of them don't use any at all. They're using more natural growing techniques. And so the fact that I think that's the movement that we're having now with gardening. I think we're trying to have this urban garden, and that think of people trying to grow food naturally in their own backyards or in their own windowsills or whatever mechanism they're using to be able to grow food. I think that's just as good as quote unquote organic. Personally, I don't feel that we should need to get hung up on the label of organic.
There actually is an effort that's national, funded by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, not the company Kellogg's, but a private philanthropic foundation that is bringing nearly 100 school districts together, and they are typically the largest school districts in the country, to work on group purchasing from local farmers, so that more of the food that's served in schools, as Sadie and Sophia sort of explored, really does come from perhaps not very local, but more local. So sort of the regional local perspective, as local as you can get, depending on what it is you're buying. So I think that in the next 5 years, we really will see the sort of group purchasing amongst school districts, because there's so much volume that they really can negotiate good distribution, good rates, and at the same time, I think sort of improve the quality of school meals for sure, but also increase the number of farmers, because there'd be more demand.
What is your plan, just building on what Safia said, to distribute the film to youth markets, to schools? Because I do agree that knowledge is contagious, and parents can have ideas about what they want their kids to be eating, but the kids make a lot of eating decisions on their own. But I think once they know and are able to see a film like this, they'll start making smart decisions.
One of the reasons I made it was because she was going to start making decisions about what she ate on her own, and I wanted her to have real knowledge to make those decisions. So I do want every child around that age or younger to start thinking about these issues.